Hi, welcome to the Coffee Hour, a show that involves you in verbal interactions. We have the 2020 feature, Sports with Brian Camp, and Entertainment News with DJ Pete. So settle in with coffee in hand, and enjoy the Coffee Hour. Now here's your host, Frank Allan.
Well, hey, how you doing today? Welcome aboard. It's Friday, and we're coming to you live from New York City. That's where we originate. And we are going to be here for a whole hour. Why? Because it's the Coffee Hour. My name is Frank Allan. Thank you so much for joining us for another Friday morning. And of course, all of what's happening today, you're going to get involved into it. Let me tell you how the show works for those of you particularly who are new. We come here every Friday at this time, and for some of you, you may be in a different time zone. We're coming to you Eastern, so your time zone may be different. Look at your clock. That's exactly what time we come on in your area each week. And we get you involved in conversation. What we do is we open up the program. Of course, I am the host, and I will start things rolling. And as we go along, you can chime in and join in conversation. You can talk to me as I talk to you and talk to other people too, but just by typing it in. Whatever you want to say, just type it in there. I'll see you right there on the big screen, and I will entertain all of your thoughts and ideas. So all you have to do is just do all of that and nothing more. I want to say good morning to all of you who are joining us this morning. For all of you who are joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, well, those are the three places we are. We're here on those three areas. And for those of you who are joining us on Facebook, please, as we get started right now, you have a lot of time to tag all of your friends. You can tag this show to them right now as we speak. And then, of course, if you are so inclined, you can subscribe to us. That's if you're coming out of YouTube, you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to us, right? Because that'll give you a chance to let you know that when we come on live, or if we so much as post a video or a photo, you get notification, it pops right up. You don't need any kind of, you don't need any kind of union card or any kind of ID card or anything. All you have to do is just come right in each week and the world is yours. Now, don't forget, tell your friends about it. Get them to do the same thing too, because the more the merrier. The more people that we get to join the show, the better it is. And of course, who knows, maybe if they join us for the first time and they see us, they might like what they see and they become full-fledged members just like you. And those of you who are watching us on Instagram, we thank you so much for being along as well. All you have to do is just to keep on following us and, of course, tell your friends and family as well. And in our show today, we're going to do the regular as far as interacting with you. There's no problem with that. We're going to do that. But in conjunction with interacting with you personally, too, we do our regular routine on the show. For instance, we have the 2020 feature coming up, 20 past the hour. Brian Camp will be here. We're going to link up with him direct from Charlotte, North Carolina. He's going to be here with the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. I'm pretty sure he has a lot to talk about. And of course, you sports fan, you want to be around to hang around for that. And later on in the program, too, we have those movies. It's late in the program. We have those movies that we always bring you. That's my pick of the week for the weekend. Now, a lot of you may be doing a various amount of things on the weekend, and catching up on movies may be one of them. And if that's the case, then I want to be the person to add on to your list, your bucket list of movies and suggestions what to watch this weekend. I have that for you coming up, and a whole lot of other things. Remember that all of the view and the opinions expressed on this show, The Coffee Hour, does not necessarily reflect the view or the opinion of the people of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Zoom. And of course, it won't reflect the opinions of any social media or broadcasting facility. So I got that out of the way. And so now we're here. You're here, I'm here, we're all here. So raise our cups, because after all, what would the coffee hour be without a little coffee? Excuse me while I shoot up. Gets better and better. Can it get any better? It doesn't get any better than this. I want to say good morning to Warren out there. You just popped in. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Hope you stay with us for the balance of the show, and a good morning to the rest of you out there who are with us too. And there's just so many things to talk about, and we're going to go right throughout the show. Remember, we're here. It's Black History Month. We want to let you know about that. And this is the last day that we could relay this to you, because when we come back next week, it'll all be over for this month. And there's a lot of things to do for Black History Month. And one of the things that I suggest to a lot of people, I suggested last night on the show, Talk Back Live, that you can go to the Jackie Robinson Museum. If you're living in New York, you can go there. And even if you're not living in New York and you happen to be visiting, make that part of your tourist attraction. Go there. There's a lot to see there. And I got to tell you guys who are living in New York, if you go to the museum, chances are you're going to have to go back for a second time. There's so much to do and so much to learn there, so much to read, so much to take in about Jackie Robinson. And you may have to go back again. I only went that one time, but I'm going to go back again, because there's more for me to learn about Jackie Robinson. So you have all of that. And of course, all through this weekend, there are movies that are Black related that you can catch on Turner Classic Movies. Also on other stations, you have plays and other museums and other cultural things to do right through the balance of this month. So remember, it's February, and February is going out just as quick as it came in. And just before you know it, Black History Month is all February. Now we're going to March. What do they call it? March Madness. All right. Baseball will soon be back before you know it. And everybody will be back with that, and we're waiting for it. But we'll talk more about that, and we'll see what Brian has to say about that, when the players will be back in spring training in Florida, when that will take place, and we're looking forward to all of that. Those of you who are going to be joining in conversation, what we want to ask you to do, it's not mandatory, but we ask you to do it anyway. Give us your weather forecast wherever you are. And Warren, if you're still there, you're not in New York, so you can give us yours. Look at what is it like in the South. I know Brian told me just last night that they reached a high of 79 degrees yesterday. And I know in some parts of the South and the North, they go up to 80 degrees. Now we had a temperature last week. One day we had a temperature that went as high as 70 degrees. That's kind of scary. I look forward to warm weather, but not right now. Not right now. I'm going to have to, sweat it out or freeze it out until the actual weather comes in. But it was nice that those temperatures came around and started changing. They reached 81 degrees. Warren in his area reached 81 degrees in North Carolina. What part of North Carolina? I forgot. But he's got 81 degrees. You see what I mean? So the temperatures are changing. But I got to tell you something. In New York, even though we had that warm weather last week, it's going to be cold this weekend, very cold this weekend. And I have the weather forecast. I'll tell you more about it later. And for the rest of you who are joining us, no matter where you are around the world, around the country, you don't have to give us a weather forecast if you're from New York. But the rest of you, I'm asking you to do that. Greensboro, North Carolina, 81 degrees out there. I reached that high of 81 degrees. Boy, that's pretty good. You could send some of that over here. I'll take that back. Not so fast, because when the weather gets that warm in New York, it's too good to be true. But we can warm up a little bit. But when we get by this cold weather, what we have right now, a lot of people are bundling up and people are changing with the weather. Please don't change with the weather. That's how you get sick. That's what I call the gotcha weather. It changes for a minute. But anyway, that's how it is. So we'll tell you more about the weather forecast in just a few minutes. But I want to tell you right now, in the world of entertainment, we have a little bad news for you. We told you about it last night on Talk Back Live. And those of you who keep up with the news and entertainment already know this stuff anyway, but we're only on the air once a week. And we got this last week. But this is what we got. Richard Belzer. You know who Richard Belzer? Richard Belzer began his career as a comedian. And then he went into the iconic roles in police detective work. And he played the character of John Munch. Now, if you don't know him yet, let's keep on saying he played in Homicide. He played on Life on the Street. And then he also played on Law and Order SVU. Now, you remember him now. I guess you remember him now. He was the guy with the glasses, the gray hair. And so he passed away. He passed away this past week, or last weekend, as a matter of fact. Passed away last Sunday. And he died at the age of 78 years old. And as I said, he started out as a comedian, and he went into drama and then police stories and all of that. So we want to wish all our condolences out to his family, all of his friends, all of his co-workers, people who knew him and worked with him, and all of his fans as well. Moving right along, R&B singer Chuck Jackson, who placed nearly 30 singles on the Billboard Hot 100 chart during the 1960s, he passed away too. He passed away last Thursday. And he's best known for the 1962 hit, Any Day Now. He did that. And that record, by the way, reached #2 on the trade magazines and R&B charts, number 23 on the Hot 100. Well, he passed away as well. Chuck Jackson passed away. He passed away at the age of 85 years old. These guys live long lives. That's good. God bless him. But he lived a long life and brought us some good music. And in the beginning, I was afraid, and I was kind of leery at first when I heard the story. I heard the story come on Facebook, and at that particular time, I only saw one posting of it. So I kind of get leery when that happens. But then, you know, as time went on, it became official. Chuck Jackson passed away. And so we want to send our condolences out to all of the people in the music world, all the people who knew him, all the people he worked with, and all of his family and friends as well. Also, actress Stella Stevens, who appeared in a string of movies in the 1960s and 70s, including The Nutty Professor with Jerry Lewis, she died last Friday as well from Alzheimer's disease. And this was released by her son, who's also an actor and a producer, Andrew Stevens. And she had been in the hospice program for quite some time, suffering with stage 7 Alzheimer's. That's pretty bad, right? So she was, I didn't even know she was in that program at all. I didn't even know she was sick. And so anyway, she passed away too, this past last week, as a matter of fact. She passed away, and she passed away last Friday. And she was 84 years old. So again, we send our condolences out to all of her family and all of her friends, all of her colleagues in acting. And I hate bringing this kind of news, but it's entertainment, and it's part of what we do on the show, entertainment. So we keep you informed of that. Now, all of this news, I'm pretty sure it's kind of old news to you, but as I said, we're on only once a week, and we just like to relay it, just a reminder, as a reminder. And believe it or not, some people, they don't get a chance to actually know these things. And who knows, there may be someone out there right now who are watching the show and say, what? I didn't know that. So actually, some people don't always get the news in time. You ever notice sometimes a person, an actor or an actress or someone in show business, right? They pass away and you never know it. You didn't know it until about a year later. Sometimes that happens. There were a lot of people who passed away that I didn't know about. And a year later, and you talk to someone, well, that's old news. Yeah, well, they didn't put it out there much, because I usually stay on top of that kind of news, entertainment news and all of that. So it's like that. So again, we send our condolences out to Stella Stevens' family, her son, all of her children, all of her friends and family, and all of the people who work with her in show business and the acting business. We want to send our condolences out once again. We're going to miss all of these people. And that's Richard Belzer, Chuck Jackson, and Stella Stevens, all in the wonderful world of show business. I don't know about the wonderful world, but in show business, right? And Here's another piece of news that you heard about too, and this was just like a couple of days ago when this was released. We mentioned it on the show last night on our show, Talk Back Live last night. And I would consider this young man a colleague. I don't know him, never met him, but you know, when you're into this business, whether you know these people or not, people in radio or people on TV, whether you know them or not, they're colleagues because they work in the same industry you work. And so you consider them as colleagues. Anyway, you heard about the story when this 19-year-old kid shot his girlfriend, I believe it was his girlfriend, and shot her and her 9-year-old daughter. And later on, there were a couple of people from the news media to want to cover the story. And I'm talking in terms of Spectrum News. Out in Orlando, Florida, Spectrum News 13, a reporter by the name of Dylan Lyons, only 24 years old, was shot and killed by the same young man. And so 4 people were shot, 2 survived so far, and 2 were killed. The young girl, 9 years old, was killed, and so was this young man, Dylan Lyons, who was the reporter who was killed. Now, the other person that was with him was his photographer, his cameraman, and he was shot, but he was just wounded, so he's still alive. We don't know what the progress of his state right now, of his condition right now, but we're going to find out later. But right now, we haven't heard any news other than what we hear now. Also, the mother of that 9-year-old girl, this guy's girlfriend, is still alive, and she's on the critical. They're both critical, as a matter of fact. And so this guy that killed these 2 individuals and wounded 2 others was only 19 years old. He was only 19 years old. And so he's in custody now at the moment. And what happened, when they look back at his track record goes back 5 years. Now, he's only 19 years old. So if you do the math, you go back 5 years, 5 years. So that means he was 14 years old when he went on these rampages. 14 years old. What a career to have, right? And I'm saying that sarcastically. 14 years old, and he's 19 years old now, so 5 years, and they say he has a long rap sheet, way back to 5 years ago. And so, as I said, he's in custody. He's 19 years old. He's in custody now. I'm pretty sure they're going to treat him as an adult, because he's close to that now, 20 years old, 21. You know, you treat it like an adult. I'm pretty sure his crime is going to be treated like an adult. So, you know, things are going on. So many things are happening. So many bad things are happening. People are getting shot. People are getting killed. All of these aggravating sources around us. You heard about the train derailment in Ohio that just blew up and just went all over the place. And we have to deal with that. And people are still trying to survive that. People are wondering if the water is still good. They're testing the waters, and they are advising to drink bottled water as opposed to tap water, because they don't know if the water is pure enough to drink, let alone to bathe in. And some people were evicted from their homes. Some people lost their homes. Some people went out to other places outside of the area where this took place to find refuge. Maybe they had family elsewhere, or maybe traveled to another city elsewhere to get refuge until this whole thing blows over. And it's a very bad thing. And it's always money over safety, you know, in a case like this. So, you know, they always say, you know, you say a little prayer, but, you know, sometimes a lot of people say, you know, something, prayer is good, but prayer is not enough, and action needs to be taken. And then, you know, we look forward, and I hope that President Biden takes a visit over there I hope he does take a visit over there. He just got back from Ukraine, as you already know. He just had a trip over there, but I hope he gets a chance to visit over there, because if he's needed at any time right now, this is the time that he's needed to talk to people and spread a little hope going around. Okay, and just in case you're just joining us, the name of the show is called The Coffee Hour. And my name is Frank Allan, and we're going to be with you up until the top of the hour. Right now, we're going to link up with Charlotte, North Carolina. Brian Camp is here. And of course, Brian is always here at this particular time, and he's coming around with the latest developments in today's world of sports. On Sports Update, we got so many things going along to talk about sports. Baseball is coming back pretty soon. Football is already over. We got basketball is still lingering, and so many things happening. So when Brian pop up, I'm waiting for him now. And let me see if I can see him. There he is. Brian pop up. And feedback. Brian, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How's everybody doing? Good morning to you all. Got a little ball in my hand. Got a ball here. Get ready for baseball season coming up soon. So it's about that time. Yes, it's about that time. It's 64 degrees out here in the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina, where we just got over a one-day heat wave yesterday. Today we got a mini heat wave. It's going to be 71 degrees today. And it's going to be nice and sunny. And this is the time here in Charlotte and any parts of the South where it gets a little bit warmer than it would be in the North. So we're here, but we hear everybody out there in the North. We'll be praying for you all that you get through this time where it's cold and icy in some areas. So hope all is well with you and everybody else. So I'm going to get to sports. By the way, I know I missed the first 8 minutes of the show, but we also want to, and you probably mentioned it, we also want to keep our prayers for former President Jimmy Carter too as well. He's in hospice, and he only served one term from 1976 to 1980, but we want to keep him and his family in our thoughts and prayers. So Jimmy Carter. In sports, this day in sports, February 24th, 1978, Kevin Porter sets an NBA record for the New Jersey Nets at that time, recorded 29 assists in one ball game. It's amazing, 29 assists. 1987, Los Angeles Lakers center, Hall of Famer great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar scored his 36,000th point in Phoenix, Arizona. And in 2020, not too long ago, it was the memorial service for NBA star Kobe Bryant held in the Staples Centers of Los Angeles. He died in a helicopter crash with one of his daughters. I forget her name. Her name is Gigi, I believe. And they had a ceremony it was something on the magnitude of when Michael Jackson had his memorial at Staples Center in Los Angeles. Yes. Birthdays. 1874, Honus Wagner, Major League Baseball Hall of Famer shortstop, was born in Borough, Pennsylvania. 1935, Phil Knight, American sports manufacturer, who's the person that does Nike, was born in Portland, Oregon. 1952, Fred Dean, NFL defensive end, was born in Arcadia, Louisiana. 1956, former baseball first baseman and Hall of Famer Eddie Murray was born in Los Angeles, California. 1974, Simeon Rice, NFL defensive end, was born in Chicago, Illinois. And boxing great Floyd Mayweather Jr. was born in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Yes, Grand Rapids, Michigan. And those are this day in sports. I'm going to, this whole month I was doing 4 installments. This is the last installment of Black History Month, and we celebrate Black history. I want to make it known that we don't only celebrate Black history, you also want to celebrate every ethnic group. So, you know, every time the calendar comes, and like in the month of October, when, you know, that's considered Columbus Day, great Italians that we're going to start to mention, and in March coming up soon is the St. Patty's Day parade. So we're going to try to get everybody in all ethnic groups the history of what their great ethnic group, that what they contribute to this great country called the United States of America. But today I'm going to do a role model of mine, one of my favorite role models of all time. Everybody have a role model. I know yours is Jackie Wilson and Allan Freed, is two people that you looked up to growing up. Mine was Muhammad Ali, formerly known as Cassius Clay. It's not so much of what he did in the ring. You know, we all know what he did in the ring. He always repeated, I want that Joe Frazier. He lived and slept Joe Frazier. I want to take Joe Frazier out. But Muhammad Ali, without a question, who died on June 3rd, 2016, transformed the world of sports, winning the heavyweight title 3 times, beginning the shocking upset back in 1964 with Sonny Liston. Ali was considered, alongside Joe Louis and Sugar Ray Robinson, one of the greatest boxers ever to enter the ring. Though his style was unorthodox and a front in boxing pursues the time. His dazzling combinations of speed and power revolutionized the sport. And most boxing observers have not come to agree with Ali's long time boast that he was the greatest of all time. He was the greatest of all time, trust me. But while the achievements in the ring may have earned him the title of Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Century in 1999, it was really Ali's appeal outside the arena that made him perhaps the most recognized and beloved figure on the planet. Other than Jackie Robinson, who shattered baseball racial barrier in 1947, no one can rival his impact as a transcendent 20th century American sports figure. The only things quicker than his fists were his feet, were his mind and mouth. Speaking the truth to power, Ali said things in a like a confrontational, even an arrogant manner the mainstream America has not yet prepared to hear from him, especially coming out of the mouth of a young Black man. Now, shortly after defeating Sonny Liston on February 25th, 1964, the new heavyweight champion announced that he was changing his name that was given a slave name, which was Cassius Clay, to Muhammad Ali. Ali was chosen from his minister, the Black specialist sect of the Nation of Islam, Minister Louis Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad. Many sports writers and the media, even at the time, refused to call him address him by his new name. They purposely call him Cassius Clay. And, you know, he just did not embrace that at all. So he just kept on saying, you're going to call me by my new name. In the months and years that follow, Ali transformed himself from being merely a boxing champ to a champion of his people, speaking out against injustice and racial inequality. He was frequently misunderstood by the media, which at the time was almost exclusive white at that time, as opposed to just overwhelmingly so today. At the height of the civil rights era, his embrace of the Nation of Islam rejected a racial integration was seen by many as just another form of bigotry. Yes, bigotry. The Nation of Islam was considered feared. They were afraid, yes, they were afraid of him at that time and was targeted by the FBI. The FBI back in those days was targeting everybody, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Jackie Robinson, you name it. And throughout the rest of his life, he was called on the act of ambassador for the religion as probably the most famous Muslim American in history. other than perhaps his mentor, Malcolm X. Ali left the Nation of Islam for more mainstream Sunni Islam in 1975, devoted much of his later life to charitable work. After 9/11, he spoke out against the terrorist attack that really hurt me, he says, because he says that the Nation of Islam are really peaceful people. His commitment to freedom of speech and the religion truly embodied the constitutional freedoms of founding fathers prescribed. That was the greatest, Muhammad Ali, person who I grew up with. I never got a chance to meet him. I would have loved to meet him. If I had to meet a couple of people at a dinner table, I would have loved to sit down with Muhammad Ali, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and just talk about life. If I ever had that chance in life, but they're no longer with us. But that's what he meant to me. Ladies and gentlemen, that is sports.
I would have loved to sat down with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. too myself, but I did have a chance to sit down with Muhammad Ali. And something, when I did that interview with him years ago, I saw the Ali that no one would ever see. I saw the soft part of Muhammad Ali. He wasn't rapping, raving, or doing anything like that. I was hoping he would, because it would have been fun for me, to do an interview like that. But he was mellow, he was cool, he was laid back. I don't know if maybe he wasn't feeling good, because he kept sniffling, I know that. But the soft side of Muhammad Ali, and it was good for me to see that, because no one gets to see that. Absolutely no one gets to see that. And so I could say, yes, I did see that. But I really wish he was the Muhammad Ali you would see on TV, because I thought that would have been a fun interview. That would have been fun. And I could have gone on hours talking to him. He was a great man.
Yes. I could imagine, what the conversation would have been like if I had, there's a couple other people that I would have had loved to had talked with, people that impacted my life, even though I have not met these great people. Just would have just had the love to just sat down with them and just listen and just gather the wisdom of what they brought and everything.
Absolutely. But the good news is that we lived in that era. We saw them. We saw their work. We saw what they did for the community. We saw that. That's. I could say that's enough for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I want to go back in time. The Super Bowl. I mean, I know it's all over, but I bring this up because when Rihanna did the halftime show, and I got this news maybe about a week after the Super Bowl. The guy that used to be on Fox News, Bill
Mazer?
No, Bill O'Reilly.
Oh, Bill O'Reilly. Okay.
Bill O'Reilly mentioned, because I saw one of his shows on YouTube, and I like to do that. I like to watch other people's shows, whether I agree with them or not. I want to hear what they have to say. So I watched his show on YouTube, and he brought up something about the Super Bowl. He was there. He said he attended there. He said he was there along with Carrie Lake, the loser from what was Arkansas? Is that where she was? Not Arkansas. Was it Arizona? Arizona, right? And he said he went to the Super Bowl, and he said that when they sung the national anthem. Remember, I think it was named Cheryl Lee Ralph. What's her name?
Yes. She
sang what they call the Negro national anthem. She sang that song. I remember that. And he stood up when the song was playing. He said he stood up. He said the reason why he did it. He said to him, it was a song. He says, but he respected, because it was even though it was a Black related song, he respected that. So he stood up. As he stood up for the national anthem, he stood up. And he said he noticed that Carrie Lake, well, we're not talking about her too much because she's an evil person. Carrie Lake sat there, like a little child. Everybody stood up. Everybody was standing up while she was singing that song. And she sat there. And all of these people were around her, and she sat there. She sat there. She says, "I only stand up for the national anthem."
Well, let me say this. Okay, I know quite a few people refuse to stand up for. We're talking about "Lift Every Voice and Sing."
Yeah.
That's the national anthem for African Americans that we have embraced and taken. This goes back not too far ago from the Black Lives Matter movement. It's sad, but this is how we live in America. And they said, racism is at an all-time low. No, it's not. You still got people like her who just refuse to respect our heritage and respect how we feel. I get people has said, white America says, and I embrace all ethnic groups. I'm not prejudiced at all, but I get a lot of bigotry where a lot of one of my white people that I know has says, why should we stand up? I said, well, America, if there's anybody that should be upset, it would be Black folks, because after the way we've been through, we just want to be part of the country, part of this world, part of this here environment called the United States of America. We will not be embraced like this, not in this time and age, not as long as we live in, maybe in the generations down the road, but it's an unfortunate thing. They will not.
Or maybe the next world.
Maybe, it's sad. It's really, really sad, but what can you say? Lift every voice and sing. If you actually look and listen to those words, it has such meaning,
Yeah.
We all took a part. We didn't ask to come here, we was taken away, but we love it here.
Yeah.
But we just want equal opportunity. And
Bill Riley, I by any means agree with his politics, but I thank him for what he did. He did it out of respect. He said he did it because it was out of respect. And so, I thank him for what he did. I thought that was a great thing what he did. But when he showed, and he did this on his show, he showed the photo of Carrie Lake sitting down there.
Yeah. It doesn't surprise me, though. It doesn't surprise me.
He called her out. And I was kind of surprised when he did that. I said, she's a Republican, he's a Republican, but just goes to show you all Republicans are not always on the side of some Republicans,
Exactly.
And so I'm happy that he did that. I respect that. And what he said, that I totally agree with him. I respect other people's anthems. If I were in another country and they played their anthem, I would stand up for it.
Well, we play the Canadian anthem. See, that's the thing. I don't get it. In sports, they play both anthems because we have the Toronto Raptors and for basketball, we got the Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Edmonton Oilers. They're all from Canada. So every time in America that these visiting countries or teams that come in and play baseball too, they play both anthems because they're from Canada. They're part of North America.
Yeah.
And they can't even play ours without grumbling, and we born and raised here.
No, I don't.
And listen, let's keep it real. Racism is far from over and everything.
Well, you tell that to Nikki. Tell that to Nikki Haley. Tell that to Nikki Haley, because she was the one that said something. And if I have time, I'm going to play an audio that I played last night on the show. That Ann Coulter, we already know her stance. She's total out and out racist. but she said that Nikki Haley ought to go back to her country. Now, Nikki Haley, those of you who don't know who Nikki Haley is, she's running for president, the only woman that's running for president of the United States against 345/666.
And Santos too, I believe, also.
Yeah, Santos too. And they're all Republicans, right?
Yeah.
She's running, and she's a woman of color. She was born, from India. Her parents are from India. And and she came out and said, and her of all people came out and said, oh no, this country is not racist. Let's keep it real. I mean, we love this country. I love this country. I wouldn't live anyplace else, but we have a problem that we have to straighten out.
Yeah, major problem.
And this is a problem that this is a time where all Americans should get together and solve the problem. That's what America. Yes. As Frank Sinatra used to say, that's America to me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So 3 things before I go. I want to just get 2 movies that I want to bring out to put on your list. Since we are celebrating President's Day this past week, All the President's Men is coming on. That's on. I forget. I don't have the day. It's coming this weekend. I don't know what time it is, but with Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford, All the President's Men. That was a very good movie. That's a classic. And the second one is on Netflix, which we still gonna be celebrating Black History, called The Legend of Bill Russell. That's on Netflix. It's just a 2-episode documentary. First episode I think is 1 hour and 36 minutes. The last one is 1 hour and 47 minutes. You need to go see it. Bill Russell. If you think Dr. King, Jackie Robinson went through something, maybe it's not as severe as they did. Bill Russell, for the city of Boston, really went through a hard time. At that time, in those days, the New England, Boston area was very racist. Let's keep it real. They were very racist. I don't know how they are now, but I haven't been there in a long, long time. But the Bill Russell always quote that I don't play for the city of Boston. I play for the Boston Celtics. Mm-hmm. So okay, read the history.
Warren left a few notes here. He said that Bill Russell, he calls him the GOAT of the NBA championship. He says you could check it out on YouTube. Alabama versus USC, 1970 NBA All-Star game, and uplifting song. Well, the uplifting song is what we were talking about.
Yes, lift every voice. Yes, thank you, Warren. Thank you so much. Yes, I see his remarks. Yes,
yeah.
And once again, let's keep former President Jimmy Carter in our prayers as well too. So everybody enjoy your weekend. Hope all is safe, all is well. Wear your mask. Yes, still wear your mask.
We'll catch you back here next week.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Brian Camp with the latest developments in today's world of sports. Of course, he's here each week at this time, his part of the 2020 feature. And of course, he brings us the sports each week. And of course, he'll be back here next week. You can also catch him back here next week when we come on Talk Back Live. So we're going to segue from one to the other. He ended off his 2020 feature. We're overdue right now. We've got DJ Pete. He's not here today, but we're going to cover his because he came along and he said that, he's got a lot of snow out in Portland, Maine. So, he's probably knee deep into it right now. So he couldn't get away. But anyway, he left us some stuff here. He's left us some good information here. Let's get started right now. February 19th, which passed away already. February 19th, 1940. We already know that it was all over social media. Smokey Robinson celebrated his birthday. As a little chime for him. Smokey Robinson, originally from Motown. He had a part ownership in Motown, I believe, or some kind of big position. Had a stock in Motown. Anyway, he was originally from the Miracles. Smokey Robinson and the Miracles went on his own and became a huge sensation. Smokey Robinson is 83 years old. 83 years old, and he sings those great ballads that kind of knock the girls out on their feet. Smokey Robinson, William Smokey Robinson. You ever know, there's a story about Smokey Robinson, he got the name Smokey. I think his grandfather gave him the name Smokey. He's always call his grandfather used to always call him, come here, Smokey, come here, Smokey. So that's how he got the name Smokey. William Smokey Robinson. Happy birthday, Mr. Robinson. And again, he's 83 years old. Boy, I should live so long. I hope I live so long. Okay, moving down the line. On the February 20th, 2014, the death of Sarah Jones, killed on a film set of Midnight Rider. Sarah Jones, actress, killed this is what we have here, 2014. And Sarah Jones, we have here, let's see, let's see if she played in any particular movies, but she played in that one movie I just mentioned, Midnight Rider, right? And so she got killed on the set. You know, that just takes me back to the Alec Baldwin saga. You know, and I think as of now, right now, he's being charged in that thing. Be very careful. Those air guns are not always air guns. They could be loaded. You never know, you know. And moving right along, Big Al Sears. Now, I know Big Al Sears. Big Al Sears is a saxophonist back in the 1950s. He's celebrating his birthday today. He would have been celebrating his birthday today. He was born February 21st. Not today, but it passed February 21st, 1910. Al Sears was a saxophonist. He played on some of the Alan Freed songs. But for instance, Alan Freed cut a record back in the 50s called Right Now, Right Now. And he was on that. Big rock and roll saxophonist, Big Al Sears. Nina Simone was also born on that day, February 21st, in 1933. Nina Simone. She was famous for that song, Mississippi Goddamn, and she passed away April 21st in 2003 at the age of 70 years old. She died in France. And Nina Simone, I know about her. Nina Simone went to a school that I wanted to go to, Juilliard School of Music. When I was in college, I majored in music. And Juilliard was one of the schools that I wanted to go to. It's a hard school to get into. It's a very difficult school to get into, not to mention the expense, but she's a graduate of Juilliard School of Music. Nina Simone, happy birthday, Nina Simone. Let's move on, shall we? Okay, on February 23rd, which was yesterday, 1932, let me see if I can pronounce his name right. Majel, M-A-J-E-L, I would say Majel Barrett Rottenberry, the wife of Gene Rottenberry. Now, let's see, who's Gene Rottenberry? All right, let's check it out. We'll go down the line. Anyway, Rogel, I hope I pronounced that right. Majel, it's M-A-J-E-L, or is it Majel? Is it Majel or Majel? All right. Anyway, she was born on February 23rd, 1932. She passed away December 18th in 2008 at the age of 76 years old. And she was an American actress and producer, and she was best known for her roles as various characters. And she was in Star Trek and Star Trek scenes and all kinds of animated things. She was in it. So I got to admit, I don't know who she is, but her credits speak for itself. So she would have been celebrating her birthday, but or is she so? Yeah, she passed away, so she would have been celebrating her birthday. Okay, and today is the 24th of February, 1920. Eddie Cambly celebrated or would have been celebrating a birthday on this day. He passed away May 1st in 1999 at the age of 79 years old. And he was a saxophone. He played the saxophone, and at the age of 12 years old, that's when he started. And he was born in Atlanta, Georgia, and he grew up in Chicago, Illinois, where he began learning the saxophone. And so he was a swift musician. He been around. You know, that name doesn't strike me as well, but Eddie Long Gone. That's what his nickname was. Eddie Long Gone. And so happy birthday. And let's see, shall we move right along? On the 25th, which will be tomorrow, George Harrison will be celebrating a birthday. I could talk off the top of my head about George Harrison. George Harrison, of course, was one of the original members of the Beatles. And George passed away November 29th in 2001 at the age of 58 years old in Los Angeles, California. That's where he died. George Harrison. When the Beatles broke up, all of the members went out on their own. Paul McCartney, John Lennon, Ringo Starr, George Harrison. Now, the two surviving Beatles, Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. Those are two surviving Beatles. And of course, they're all out on their own now. So happy birthday in heaven to George Harrison of the Beatles. And so I think that's it. That's all we have for today. Thank you, DJ Pete, for bringing that information to us. We hope to catch you back here next week. And speaking of that, he has a radio show that you can check out. Now, he's on www.airwave.co.uk. Now, he changed his time. He's no longer on Mondays. He changed his time. He's on Thursdays now. You can catch him every Thursday between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. That's on www.radio-airwaves.co.uk. But the beat goes on for his hometown station at WMPG. You can check him out there. And if you can't pick up the station out in Portland, Maine, there's always a website you can go on. That's www.mpg.org, and you can catch him there every other Tuesday between 8:30 p.m. and 10 p.m. And all times are Eastern time zone in the USA and Canada. So again, thank you so much, DJ Pete, for all of that. And so I have a few birthdays. Okay, Brian mentioned one already, so I'm not going to mention this one. He said boxer Floyd Merriweather is celebrating a birthday, so I don't have to mention that. I don't even know why that's in there. That's sports. We're not supposed to do sports-related stuff in this segment. But he's 46 years old today since we mentioned him, but Brian already mentioned that. Journalist Paula Zahn is 67 years old today. Happy birthday, Paula Zahn. I met her once. She's tall. She's pretty tall. Paula Zahn, and she has a show on TV, one of those news TV programs. She's a journalist too. And no longer with us, jazz saxophonist, the late David Fathead Newman, who played with Ray Charles back in the day, or back in those days, however you want to say it. A lot of people have a problem saying back in the day. What is back in the day? I don't know. Some people say back in the day or back in those days. But anyway, David Fathead Newman would have been 90 years old. Also, actor Gabe Vigoda, who played in that series, he had his own show called Fish. I remember that. And he also played in Bonnie Miller. He played Bonnie Miller. He played in Bonnie Miller as Fish. And so he would have been 102 years old. So happy birthday, Gabe Vigoda, wherever you are. He also played in the Godfather too. He also had a part in the Godfather too. And that's it. And listen, in case any of you would like to get in touch with me personally, I'm always available. Now, if you don't want to talk online, that's okay. And you can always talk here, and you can contact me, right? By way of telephone. You can do that by way of telephone. And all you have to do is email me too. Okay, I'll give you the email address first. Email address is Frank Allan Prod. Allan is spelled A-L-L-A-N. Frank Allan Prod at AOL.com. That's Frank Allan Prod at AOL.com. P-R-O-D, that stands for production. That's short for production. Telephone number is 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. If you'd like to call to find out more about the show, or you have ideas about the show you would like us to implement, let us know. We accept your ideas and opinions. You can do that, and at any time you want, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That email address, frankallenprod@aol.com. That's frankallenprod@aol.com. Again, the phone number is 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. I don't want to forget to give you our weather forecast today. We bypassed that, right? I don't know why. Let's see if we can find it here somewhere along the way. Do we have it? Yes, we do have it. Okay, so here's our weather forecast for today. I want to give that to you because we promised you we'd give it to you. Our weather forecast, our temperature presently, we have 42 degrees outdoors. It's 42 degrees. The sun is in and out, peekaboo. Well, I love you. But here's our weather forecast. It's going to be mostly cloudy today. We have our morning high at 44. That's going to be the highest today we get is 44 degrees, 42 now. Highest is 44 degrees, and with temperatures falling to near freezing. So keep those coats handy. And winds will be northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. High wind gusts will be possible. For tonight, a few passing clouds. We have a low 23 degrees. Winds will be north-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And for Saturday, overcast skies, high 33. Winds will be southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. No rain in the forecast just yet. And for Saturday night, partly cloudy skies. We'll have a low 29. Winds will be light and variable. And for Sunday, as we wrap up our week, we get partly cloudy skies. We'll have high temperatures. Now it goes up to 50 degrees. Winds will be southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And repeating our current temperature, we have 42 degrees outside. Okay, before we go, we want to give you those movies. I only have one movie this week, but I think you're going to like it. I think you're going to enjoy it. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. It's called West Side Story from 1961, starring Richard Beymer and Natalie Wood. Back in 1961, when it was released, you could catch it this Saturday, tomorrow, Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. That's West Side Story. The Sharks and the Jets, they collide. And it's going to be, we're going to have a rumble tonight. The West Side Story. And that's the only pick of the week that I have for you. But you could also go on Turner Classic Movies and you can check out other movies. Now, there may be other movies that you may like that I haven't mentioned, only because it wasn't my pick. Not that it's not a good movie, but it just wasn't my pick. But West Side Story was. And also you could always check out Movie on Demand with you could check out the old movies, the newer movies, pay-per-view stuff, all of that. It's all right there for you. So check it out. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, look, before we go, I gotta play this audio. Remember, I told Brian earlier about what's her name? Ann Coulter, the racist, and she expects you to buy her books. Well, she had told Nikki Haley that she should go back to her country after Nikki Haley already said that there's no racism in this country. I want you to listen to this audio right now.
She's just a preposterous creature. But her tendency did remind me that I need to immigrate to India so I can demand they start taking down parts of their history. The worst thing, what's the worst thing of the cows? They're all starving over there. And the worst thing of cows, you know, they have a rat temple where they worship rats. Go back to your own country and reconsider that history. Gandhi's behavior with little girls. You may know I am referring to Nikki Haley, child of immigrants, governor of South Carolina, who immediately, after some psychopath does the mass shooting at the church, hideous. Oh, what will I do? Let's take down the Confederate flag from the South Carolina Capitol.
Ladies and gentlemen, if anyone has to go back to their country, maybe we should all go back where we came from. That's going to wrap it up for me, ladies and gentlemen. And I thank you so much for being along with us here on the Coffee Hour. I'm going to come back here next Thursday night. Next Thursday night, Talk Back Live. Brian Camp will be with me with sports on Sports Update. And of course, you and I will indulge in conversation. Other than that, I will be back here next week, along with Brian Camp, the 2020 feature, 20 minutes past the hour with sports, and 22 the hour DJP with information of news on entertainment news and reciting all of those birthdays of people of notoriety. Ladies and gentlemen, until then, you have yourself a great day, a great week, and we'll catch you back here soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Have fun.
You've been watching the Coffee Hour with your host Frank Allen. The producer has been Al Dale. Technical assistant Dave Taylor. Research by Sandy Pierce. And I'm your announcer Donna Stenke. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the Coffee Hour.